The conflict in Ukraine has shifted to the east of the country, where Ukrainian forces are battle-hardened and well-prepared, according to many Western media. Analysts believe Ukraine's best units are in the east and that they are dug into trench systems and other fortified positions. So far, Ukrainian troops have strongly resisted the Russian advance, but they could be heavily outnumbered by Russian forces who are inching forward in some areas in the east, where will the key battle be fought. Russian officials have said that the focus of its forces is now the complete liberation of the Donbass, broadly referring to Ukraine's eastern regions of Luhansk and Donetsk. The terrain in the east will pose big challenge for the Russians as they attack, with less wooded land than the north of the country. Analysts say open area may be favored to the Ukrainians, which some argue. The battle for Sloviansk is likely to be the next pivotal battle of the war, according to the Institute for the Study of War (ISW). If Russian troops advancing from Izium are able to take the town, they could then choose to advance east towards Rybuzin and encircle the relatively small group of Ukrainian forces, or head further south to encircle a larger Ukrainian contingent. If Mariupol falls fully to the Russians, more troops may also be available to push north into the area west of Donetsk. How are the Ukrainians prepared? Brigadier Ben Barry, retired, of the International Institute of Strategic Studies, said Ukrainian forces have had years to prepare their defenses and that Russian troops may struggle to force them out easily. It's not just World War I style trenches on the Ukrainian side, they will have also fortified key towns and villages they want to defend, he said. The Ukrainian armored vehicles and other equipment are positioned in retrenchment on the earth bank for protection, he said, but many of them have been destroyed. Many Ukrainian troops in the east are highly experienced. They have been holding back Russian separatists since the conflict of 2014. Their numbers may also be boosted should Ukraine military chief redeploy units no longer needed to defend Kyiv after Russia's withdrawal from the north. How will Russia attack? Brigadier General Barry says Russia is likely to make heavy use of artillery to break down strong Ukrainian defenses from the air before pushing towards on the ground. Artillery is a heavy weapon designed to fire munitions much further than small arms. Attacking Ukrainian troops head on with infantry without a heavy artillery bombardment first risks huge Russian casualties and greatly increases the risk of defeat. Russia has a range of weaponry to draw on, in particular self-propelled artillery, in which Russia dominates, will be a very significant factor, said Brigadier Barry. MSTA self-propelled howitzer. The self-propelled howitzer has the appearance of a tank but fires munition upward to then fall onto a target rather than shooting directly at it. It is more heavily protected than a towed gun and can advance quickly when enemy defenses break down. Those opportunities to move forward may be rare. However, as front lines become semi-fixed in many areas, it could take on quite a bloody and attritional field, said Brigadier Barry. To pound Ukrainian troops from the greatest distance, Russia has grabbed multiple rocket launcher systems and is likely to use them heavily. BM-21 Grad multiple rocket launcher system. Grad has 40 rockets which can be fired as little as 20 seconds and have already inflicted a catastrophic toll on many populations in some areas, reducing residential districts of Kharkiv, Mariupol, and other cities to rubble. Reports suggest thermobaric weapons have also been used by Russian forces in parts of Ukraine, including Mariupol, Donetsk, and Izium in Kharkiv. Thus, 1A thermobaric weapons. They are much more devastating than conventional explosives of similar size. scattering a fuel mixture as a cloud, which then detonates, producing a huge fireball and massive blast waves. Samuel Canning, Edvan of the Royal United Service Institute, said they are primarily designed for urban warfare because the cloud of fuel mixture, which is scattered after the initial impact, can penetrate gaps in the building before detonating. If Russian artillery is successful in destroying key Ukrainian defenses, Russia is likely to use infantry with small arms and a large of wheels and tracked vehicles together with tanks with heavy firepower to lead advances across terrain swept by Ukrainian fire. Air power in support could include fighters, bombers, and attack helicopters. Ukraine Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba says the fighting will remind you of the Second World War. What could hold the Russians back? Analysts say it is unclear whether Russian forces have addressed the serious logistical problems they encountered in the first weeks of the invasion. Troops struggle with insufficient fuel, food, water, and basic equipment, such as radios and cold weather clothing. The key will also be training, motivation, and leadership. The Russians did not perform well around Kyiv, and we just don't know whether they have learned the lesson, said Brigadier Barry. The report also suggests that Russia has lost more than 3 times as much military hardware as Ukraine in the war so far, though it is not verified and it may be lied anyway. How this might affect the war in the east is unclear, but replacing lost equipment will present serious challenge. Oryx, an open source military analyst website, tracks military equipment losses and only includes destroyed vehicles and equipment of which photographic or video evidence is available. It estimates that Russia has lost more than 400 tanks, 20 aircraft, and 30 helicopters, as well as hundreds of armored vehicles and other equipment. Smaller Ukrainian losses may reflect the size of Ukraine's armed forces, but may also signal tactic success. Equipment destroyed, damaged, or captured. Ukraine has captured significant amounts of Russian equipment, but it is unclear how useful it will be. Michael Kaufman of the United-based Center for Naval Analysts (CNA) said it is going to be a while before this kit is serviceable, manned, and deployed, where it makes a tangible difference. A few captured tanks or IFVs, that is, infantry fighting vehicles, do not an armored brigade make. In the long run, Russia may also have a crucial advantage, particularly if Western suppliers of Ukraine continue to be restricted to defensive equipment. Mr. Kani Evans said for every Ukrainian Grad rocket launcher or Howitzer destroyed, in most cases, there are no replacements, they are gone. But Russia still has manufacturing capability, so for Russian troops, these things are not irreplaceable. So as for the war goes on, time begins to shift in Russia's favor, which may ultimately lead to Russia winning the war and winning this military operation.